Hey makers, this is Dhruvin, and in this episode I'm going to talk about one of the most interesting and most asked question within the Dataverse world. Yes, many of you are asking me that Dhruvin, how can we implement the multi-select functionality with the lookup column? This is one of the most common option. Generally what happen here is whenever we go into Dataverse, and specifically if I'm talking about any Dataverse table that we are building. So let's say for an example, I'm having one notification table over here. And let's say for an example, if I'm going to my column section over here and clicking on new column, at that time, if you have observed one thing, that if you make the data type as a lookup data type over here, right? And if you pick up any related table from here, let's say I pick up my account table. So at that time, there is no multi-select functionality available. But there are certain situations where we need to have multi-select feature for the lookup column. At that time, how can we solve this problem? Right? Most of the time, dynamic CRM side, it is one of the most common issue. And again, like its solution is also very easy, but generally we are not aware about that. So how we can implement multi-select lookup functionality in the Dataverse? That's what my main exercise for today's class. Now, first of all, let me explain you one more interesting thing over here. So whenever we are having the Dataverse and whenever we are having the model driven application, so you can see here right now, this is my end outcome. This is what we are going to achieve by end of this video. So this is my notification, and here assigned to is a lookup column. And again, it should accept the multiple users over here. This is also another interesting and most common use case, how you can apply multi-select user on the lookup column. Right? So generally we know that in Dataverse, if we want to apply the user selection, we usually use the users table or system users table from the Dataverse. Now here we can build this kind of experience as well for multi-select. So let's say for an example, if I'm selecting my name, it's showing me my name. Let's say I'm sharing another name over here, it is showing another person's name. Okay, let's say for an example, I'm adding one more thing, it is adding that person's name. So this is how you can add multiple people over here one after another. So how you can implement this? Let's have a look around that. So here I'm going to use two different approaches for this particular solution. First of all, we will not use this one. We will just use out of the box component for that. And second, we will use ready-made PCF control, which is available on the internet, to implement such kind of user interface to provide better UI for your customer. So let's get started this journey from scratch. So without further delay, let's get started. But before we get started, if you haven't followed me on my Twitter and Instagram so far, do follow me over there. And don't forget to subscribe my channel. It's free for you, but it motivates me in lots of other ways. Also, if you haven't joined my premium membership, do join it out. Over there, lots of premium courses are waiting for you. So let's get started. So here I am, and you can see that currently I am having one table with me called notification table. Now in notification table, I have two columns. One is notification ID, which is my primary key column. And when I click on that, it is showing you this kind of thing, single line of text column. Let me change this behavior a little bit called auto number over here, and let me make the prefix as notification. So it will automatically generate, and let me just make it optional field over here, and let me click on save over here. So I have one column called notification ID, and another column I am having here is my description column, which is again a single line of text column. Okay. Now here I want to implement end-to-end relationship with user table. Okay, because the reason is that I want to provide a functionality that one notification can be assigned to the multiple user. Okay, so for that in the Dataverse, we need many-to-many relationship for that. So whenever, remember one thing, this is a common principle in the Dataverse. Whenever you want to implement multi-select lookup, you require many-to-many relationship between that Dataverse table. It's not actually creating any column in the Dataverse. It's just a matter that it completely works on the relationship base. So let's have a look how we can do that. For that, simply let's go to the notification and let's go to the relationship over here. And first we need to establish the relationship for many-to-many. So let's click on that. So any lookup table against which you want to apply multi-select, make sure you create the many-to-many relationship for that. That is the base principle over here. So I'm selecting new relationship and selecting many to many from here. And over here you can see that this is my notification table. Now this notification table should be associated with the user table from my system. So let's select the user table, and this is the native relationship which is created over here. You can keep this as is, and you can see that this is your relationship table name and this is your relationship name. So it is basically creating this type of relationship table in between whenever you build many to many relationship for yourself. Now let's click on done and click on save over here. So this is creating many to many relationship for you. Now let it to be created, and once it is created, it will be available for you over here. So let's wait for a moment. So my relationship column has been created successfully, and you can see this is my many to many relationship notification to user like this. Okay, now let's go one more level up from here. Now we need to implement the form for this interface, and to do that what we'll do here is simply let's go to the table over here and let's go to the form over here. Now let's open our main form and let's try to add that lookup column over there. Alright, and for that what we need to do here is we need to provide multi-select experience. So in the world of Dataverse, let me just add one description column and notification ID column as is. Notification ID is auto-generated column, so I'm just moving it on the top like this. And now for multi-select lookup, I will simply add the subgrid component on my screen. For that what I'll do here is simply click on component section from your form over here. And now let's select the subgrid from here. And first of all, let me just add one section over here for myself. So simply let's add one column section, and inside that I'm just providing my section name over here, that select assignee. Okay, perfect. And inside that let's add the subgrid. So I'm start dragging the subgrid component over here. As soon as you drag the subgrid component, basically you need to tick box this show related record, and from table you need to select the appropriate table over here. So you created the relationship with the user table as end to end. So let's apply our user table from the options. So I'm just selecting that from my option. So let me select that up. You can select the appropriate view from there. So I'm selecting as is and click on done at this point. Okay, so basically it will add one subgrid component for you over here like this. Now let me just rename my subgrid component over here. So I'm just providing over here assign users. That's pretty much it. And let's click on save and publish over here. So this is how you can simply add the appropriate multi-select lookup option over here. Alright, so let's save and publish, and then we'll build the model driven application and try to play it out and see how it will reflect into end to end. Okay, and then we will customize this interface as well, which I'm going to showcase. Okay, so it is being published. Now it's time to go back from here. So I'm just clicking on back and creating one more model driven application for myself. So simply clicking on new and app and model driven application. So let me just create one notification application for myself over here. Let's click on create, and let me add my Dataverse table within here. Let's click on new and click on Dataverse table, and let's select our notification table that we are having. So I just added my notification table, click on add, and this is what it is showing to me over here like this. Okay, now let's do one interesting thing. Inside that, let's try to save and publish and play the application. Once you play the application, this is how it looks like. Now let's click on the new option over here. Now let's add the notification over here, that notification one. Now if you have observed one interesting thing here, that subgrid component will not be loaded into new form, because we know that in the Dataverse, subgrid component always work on the related table, and related table should always have the parent entry first. Now to do that, first you need to save it. So your parent record is getting saved. As soon as you save it, of course, behind the scene your subgrid will be loaded for you. So when you open that again, you can see that subgrid is opening. Now here you can assign the multiple users to this notification. So click on add existing user. So it is typically opening up this kind of out of the box interface for you. Now here you can select the multiple people. So let's say for an example, I wanted to add Dhruvin's user over here. I wanted to add my contact user over here. I'm selecting multiple value from my user table as a lookup. Okay, and click on add. And as soon as you add that, it will be showing over here underneath assignee section over here, which means that now this notification 1000 is assigned to two people, Dhruvin and contact. Right? So this is how you can simply add multi-select value from your lookup. Now, sometimes we have a question that, okay, Dhruvin, can we not change this behavior a little bit? Because most of the time when we are working with the other systems like SharePoint and all, they are providing very beautiful interface where you can see the drop down kind of option, and from there you can simply select multiple option over there, right? So isn't it available within the model driven application as well? So let me tell you the short answer. Out of the box way, there is no other way in the Dataverse or model driven application to achieve that. Dynamics 365 field service is providing one native control, but not in simple Dataverse related model driven application. For that, you need to use custom PCF component. Now, what is that PCF component? Let's have a look and implement that. But what would be my recommendation here is try to avoid PCF component if you can, because PCF is a third party component at the end. And let's say for an example, in future, if that support is being removed, your component is stopped working basically, right? And you properly don't have a control if you don't know the PCF at that point of time. So try to build the application mostly into this fashion that is more safe and secure way. In future, let's say if Microsoft is introducing the multi-select people picker, then it's a different story. But right now you can just deal with this option. Okay. But second option that I'm talking about, do it by your own. I mean, but I'm still teaching you that methodology, that how exactly to implement it. Alright, so first of all, what I'm doing here is I'm opening one official Microsoft supported site, which is PCF Gallery. PCF Gallery is generally a site where community people are building the PCF component and host it and provide you to freely use for your projects basically. Okay. Now in that there is one amazing control available, end-to-end multi-select, that is developed by Alex. Now kudos for him that he built up this component for us. Now over here, we need to simply download this component. They have provided the complete package over here. So it's a managed solution they provided over here, which we need to simply import it in our environment, and we can simply leverage the capability over there. I will show you the configuration steps as well one by one. So first of all, to download that, the link is available in the description box. So do check it out over there for this PCF gallery. All right. And second thing is that while you are downloading it, don't forget to click on the link on my Instagram account as well. Okay. And subscribe button as well. Now I'm just clicking on the download button from here. So clicking on that, once you click on download, you will be redirected to the GitHub repository over here. Now in GitHub repository, redirect to the main code over here. All right. And once you start reading the description, he has provided the complete package of the solution over here. So let's click on that. So I'm just clicking on that, and basically once you click on that, it is downloading the complete package over here. So it is ITA NT boring PCF component. Its solution name is funny, but it's like that. So you just need to download that package for you. It's downloaded already for me. Now what you need to do here is, after you do that activity, you simply need to go to your environment basically. So let me just go to my environment over here. All right. So this is where I build up the thing for myself, and I will go to the solution and I will import that zip package for myself. So let's click on browse over here, and let me just open up that same package that I just downloaded over here. It's an unmanaged solution. Let's click on open, and let's click on next and finish the solution import process. I'm not going to do this entire process again by my own because it's already installed in my machine, but simply you need to click on next, and simply, the way you are importing the other solution, you need to simply import it out for yourself, and simply clicking on import button. Okay. Once you do that, basically this packages will be imported in your machine. Okay. It's a ready-made package, and once you import that, it will just show you this kind of message. It's imported successfully. And even if you look at this component after the import, it will be available underneath your unmanaged section over here. Alright, so this is what your PCF control looks like. Now we need to understand how we can consume this PCF component within our model driven application. For that, the fundamentals are very simple. First of all, this component is working on single line of text column. So first of all, what you need to do is open your notification table that you have. So I'm just going over here and going to the column section. Okay. And first of all, I'm creating one single line of text column with the maximum character limit over there. So let's click on new column over here. And let me create the column name. So I'm just creating the column assign to column for myself. Okay, and assign to column, I make a single line of text, going to advanced option, and I'm just making the character limit to 4000 character over here and clicking on save. This is just one reference column we needed. It does not save any actual data over there, but we need that column because on that we can render our component. Now simply let's go to the form over here for myself and let's click on the main form over here. Once you click on the main form, we need to start adding our subgrid control for ourselves. Already that subgrid control we are having it, but I'm showing you the another way. So we will add this custom control on the model driven form now. As we have already finished the previous demo, what I'm doing here is I'm selecting this subgrid from here and I'm simply deleting this out because now I really don't need that because I'm going to consume my simple PCF control for myself. So let's select this thing out and delete this thing out from here. So I just deleted that control and this is how it looks like. Now let me do one thing. Here I created one text column which is my assign to control. Let's select and drag that into this particular section over here because ultimately it's an end-to-end relationship. So user need to save the first before they select this drop down. So now I'm just having this and now we need to go and let's click on save and publish to this point. And now let's start configuring this component. For that, there are multiple ways for configuring. You can do via classic interface or you can do via modern interface. Any one of this is working. So when you go to the, you just need to select your control over here and go to the component option at the bottom. Click on add option over here. And as soon as you add that, you can able to see end-to-end multi-select option for yourselves. Because as soon as you add the text column over here, on top of that, you can render this end-to-end multi-select control. Okay, this is what we are going to consume for ourselves. But before that, I am not big fan of using the modern interface. So when you do the modern interface, this is how it will look like. Okay. So what I'm doing here is you can either go into classic or you can go here any one of the way will work. Right now, let's try to use modern one. But even if you're comfortable with classic, you can go with the classic interface as well. So I'm just going over here and there are certain fields you need to configure it over here. All right. Now let's see what are those configuration field over here. So the first thing you need to configure over here is link entity name. Means what is your link entity's name over here? You need to supply that. So in this case, what I'm doing here is you simply need to provide over here that which column you wanted to consider for your reference column. Right now, you can see this UI is still a little bit clunky. Okay, what I'm doing right now is simply I'm switching to the classic interface because that's where I am more comfortable about. So let me switch to classic. As soon as you switch to classic, it will just redirect you to this interface. There is proper guided path here as well. It is there, but this is where I'm not more comfortable with. So I'm just switching myself to the classic, but same way you can do in the modern as well if you want. And I'm simply double clicking on my assign to column over here. When you double click on that, it will open up this classic pop-up that we usually use into model driven application. Go to the controls over here and click on add control. Once you click on add control, from here you need to find out that end-to-end lookup option over here. So let me just select and here I'm getting end-to-end multi-select. Let's click on add. And once you add that, this is where you can see whole configuration for yourself. So see how beautifully it is showing into classic one. First you need to provide link entity name, then link entity attribute name, then link entity IT attribute, then you need to provide the relationship name, then you need to provide relationship entity and fetch XML web resource, which is optional. Okay, 5 different things you need to do here. First, let's select the link entity name. So what's my link entity? because this is associated with the user, so that table's internal name is something which I need to supply here. So I will select here bind to a static value over here. This option is purely available into classic interface. Modern interface, we are sometimes getting confused that what to do here. So here I'm just adding my link entity, which is my user table, which is internal name is system user. So I'm just providing that system user table name over here. You just need to find the internal name for your table. Okay. So I'm providing a user table over here. Then link entity name attribute. Okay, so which attribute you will provide? Generally it will be like your, when the Dataverse column is table is created, usually by default primary name column is created, right? So over here in the user table, full name is what, which is a primary name column. So you can just provide the primary name column over here. So how do you find that? So you just need to open your user table and see that what is the column which is created as a primary name column. So I'm just having full name column. So I'm just selecting that one and clicking on OK over here. Okay. If you do not find it, what you need to simply do here is you just need to simply go to your Dataverse table. Okay. For that as well, let me just quickly show you. So you'll not get any confusion for this column value, like from exactly where to pull up that information for. So see, in my table, I'm just going to the user table because it's a linked table, right? You can always find the internal name of the table using the properties option and just go and copy the logical name of the table. Similar way, let's go to the column, and over here, you just, when you scroll it down, okay, and search over here for primary name column. So you can see the full name over here for myself. Similar way in your Dataverse as well, you will be finding any primary name column. So select that column and inside that see what's the internal name for that. So it is full name. So I just copy that particular thing. And next one that we need to configure over here within this interface is linked entity ID attribute. So what is the ID attribute? It's nothing but your GUID column which is created by default when you set up your table for the first time. Okay. So in this table, it's my user table. Okay. So generally in this case, whatever your table name is, that same name GUID column they usually create. If you don't find that thing out, simply do this thing. In your reference table, just go to data type and filter it out by GUID column. Okay. So let me just filter it out quickly over here for yourself. So I'm just going over here. So GUID is considered as a unique identifier. So I'm just filtering based on that. And once you do that, apply that out. So you will find certain GUID columns over here because it's a out of the box table. And you can see that exact same name like a table name. So table name is user and exact same name it is here user. So let's provide that ID over here. So let's go to the advanced option and copy the logical name of that ID column. And now let's supply it over here, that entity ID attribute. So select a static value and supply it out over here. System user ID. Click on OK. That's perfect. Next, so we configured 1, 2, 3 parameters already. Next, we need to provide relationship name and relationship entity. Okay. Two things we need to supply over here. Now, how to find that information? Let me show you. So relationship information, usually you can find it out whenever you had created your table. So let's say for an example, in our case, we are having notification table. Okay. So let me open up my notification table quickly for myself and go to the relationship, because that is the place where we created end-to-end relationship. Click on that. As soon as you click on that, basically it will show you two options to you over here. One is relationship name and relationship table name. So table name is your entity name and relationship name is this name. Okay. So we need to supply that information. For that, let's go again to our model over here. Relationship name, let's apply that. Let's click on edit. Let's click on bind to a static value. And here, what is the name for your relationship? So this is the name, notification system user underscore system user, and copy this PPT as well. Okay, copy this entire name along with this abbreviation. Don't forget to copy this one. Otherwise you will get an error. Okay, exact to exact same spelling you need to copy it out. If you do any minor mistake for yourself, it will give you an error. Okay, so I'm just having this name and click on OK. So that will be your relationship name. Okay. Next, relationship entity name, let's click on edit and here bind to a static value, and let's supply the same value that we find it over here, relationship table name. Okay, and again before that as well, make sure you copy your solution abbreviation as well. So copy this and copy this completely, and I'm just adding over here ppt underscore this one. Okay, and perfectly provide that and click on OK over here. That's pretty much it, and let's click on OK, and that will create simply the assign to box over here. All right, now double click on again. Okay, and go to the controls over here. We forget to do one thing. Once you do this activity and configure that control, you need to select that control from here, that is what you wanted to see as a by default in your web, phone and tablet layout. So double click on that and select this out from control and click on OK from here. Once you click on OK, click on save and make sure you publish your changes. I'm just publishing my changes over here. Once you publish your change, it is published successfully, and now you need to play your model driven application again. And here I am, I run my model driven application. Let's create a new record over here. So same like the other mechanism, let me create the record first. So even at the time this drop down will appear, it will not save the value. So record will be saved always after you create the fresh record. So in new mode, anytime this select assignee will not work for you, even though if you are using PCF component, that's the baseline. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just providing the title over here, notification to. All right, we need to save this record first. Okay, and then let's click on assign to. So see, this is what it is opening as a drop down now. So instead of that classic interface, now you are having this modern PCF control for you. Now select the name over here. So I'm selecting myself Dhruvin. Let's say I'm adding another user called contact@powerplatformtrainings.com. And now let me click on save and close. As soon as you do that, it created the another record. Let's open that record. And once you open that record, it should show that value as well to you over here, whichever you saved for yourself. Okay, and here I am. This is how I just make my lookup column as multi-select column, and we achieved the thing that I would like to have. All right, and the main reason for creating this purpose is because I come across with this requirement with my project and I did not find any good article, any good videos on the internet. So I thought, let me just create it out so at least everyone can utilize this functionality on their project base, and in the lookup we can leverage this multi-select capability for us. All right, so that's pretty much I'm having for this end-to-end lookup or multi-select lookup with the Dataverse and model-driven application. Hope this video is helping you and valuing your time. If so, make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and don't forget to follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Also, I have started the YouTube Premium membership on my channel. You can join that. Already 2 courses are live over here. You can start watching it out. More than 100 plus people already joined this one. And the fee is very affordable for premium membership. It's just 5,999 per month, which is less than a medium size of pizza pricing that you are usually having during your weekend time. All right, and if you want any live training from me, then visit my website www.powerplatformtrainings.com. This year we are done for that, but next year in 2026 we have planned lots of amazing training program over there. So do join or check out our website regularly. So yeah, that's pretty much it that I'm having for today. With that note, this is Dhruvin signing off. See you in the next episode with some amazing content. Till then, stay safe. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.